You can change your life and completely reinvent yourself in 90 days. I've done it myself multiple times and I've seen other people do it. If you're feeling stuck, uncertain, or just want a change, I'm going to show you in this video with evidence the easiest ways to get unstuck and how to stay consistent. And I know you can do it with certainty because I've been there myself, and these tools I'm about to share with you are the same tools I've used to get unstuck. But first, the most important thing is to start now. A lot of people wait until a new month or a new year for them to get started because of that motivational boost they get. But the time spent waiting on a new time period is the more time you spend living in that same dissatisfied state of life that you're already in. I sort of hacked this by using these 30-day calendars like this. And what it does is it allows me to capitalize on my motivation at any point in time. So I don't have to wait on a fresh date to start. So you can get one very similar to this on my website. You don't need to sign up for anything. It's absolutely free to download. So you can get started now while you have the motivation. So why a 90-day period? Research shows that it takes about 2 months for habits to become automatic. And at 90 days, it's long enough for you to make the habits automatic and still short enough for you to see the finish line and maintain motivation. Step 1. Mental contrasting. Mental contrasting is based on a theory developed by psychologist Gabriel Oettingen called fantasy realization theory, which states that when people contrast their fantasies about a desired future with reflections on present reality, a necessity to act is induced that leads to the activation and use of relevant expectations. That sounds complicated, but all it means is that if you were to contrast where you are with where you want to be, then you'll get access to more motivation and discipline to move toward your goal. The study goes on to show that when people only fantasize about a desired future or only reflect on present reality, expectancy-independent moderate goal commitment emerges, which basically means that if you only look at how bad it is right now or how good the future can be only, then you don't commit to it as much as if you contrasted both. So to do this mental contrasting, we want to get an idea of where we are right now by writing down what we do and how we feel, then contrast that with where we want to be and how we want to feel. It's probably best to find a quiet space where you can get honest with yourself. There's a popular exercise called Wheel of Life that allows people an easy entry point into this type of personal work. You can easily find these online. What you want to do is give yourself a score in each category out of 10. Then look at the ones that are the lowest and describe what that's like for you. For me, I've done this so many times that it's pretty intuitive at this point. I use 5 categories. I use health, wealth, personal happiness, career, and relationships. And when I did this in January, my relationships category was the lowest. So here's what I wrote. Where I am. I feel unhappy with my current social life. I don't relate to the people in my vicinity and I feel isolated, which makes me create more distance between them and I. And I don't make an effort to have conversations with strangers or to care about the topics they're talking about. I outwardly express my disinterest because I've decided I'm not going to be around them. And to contrast that, I'm a person that's easy to talk with about any topic. I make people feel seen and appreciated, and I have various fun options for activities that I wholly enjoy doing with people I enjoy doing it with. I feel like a part of a network, like I'm contributing, and I have enjoyable conversation with most people I meet. And by contrasting my then unpleasant reality with this future that I wanted for myself, whenever an obstacle from my past self came up, like wanting to shut down a conversation or wanting to stay at home on a night when I can go out to a meetup, I was able to use these both as motivation for me to push through. Next is the working backward approach. This is a style of problem solving where you start with the outcome first, then slowly work your way back to the beginning step by step. And it works really well because at the end of it, you end up with an actionable list of to-do items that can get you to the result that you want. So let's use my example. I want to feel like part of a network. If I feel like part of a network, then I went to an event where I connected with people. If I went to an event where I connected with people, then I enjoyed talking with people at an event. If I enjoy talking with people at an event, then I went to an event about something I'm passionate about. Then I found an event that I'm passionate about. Then I downloaded an app that has events. And now I just turn these steps into an action list, starting with downloading an application for events. Because if I follow these, then I end up feeling like part of a network. Now for the part that most people fail at when trying to make a transformation: getting consistent. To get consistent, we need to acknowledge that most of us were never taught how to be consistent, because consistency is a skill. And with any skill, if you don't practice it, you can't expect yourself to be good at it. So if you haven't been the most consistent in the past, no need to worry about it. You can learn it the same way that I learned it, and I have some steps that make the process feel effortless. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, argues that we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. Every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every candidate wants to get the job. And if successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals, then the goal cannot be what differentiates the winners from the losers. And if you're not familiar with systems, then you're probably wondering, what the hell is a system? Well, a system is the process that you use to get toward the goal. So for example, right now I have a goal of getting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And my system for getting that requires that I write twice a week, research what's working on YouTube daily, review my past videos, and practice making thumbnails. These are all within my control. And if I focus on my system rather than just my goal, I would eventually get to 100,000 subscribers, because these are all activities that lead toward the goal. So working out the actual activities that would lead to your goal is the way you would develop a system. And to stick with your system, there are a couple of things that you can do. First is environment design. We are habitual machines. We take inputs from the environment, then act based on what's in it. So on a desk, we'd probably work, but on a bed, we're a lot less likely to work and more likely to sleep because of the relationship to the bed. People figured out that if we were to intentionally shape our environment to the outcomes that we wanted, our habitual side would take over, and on autopilot, we'd be able to get ourselves to do the things we wanted to. Here's what this looks like practically to me. I currently want to write, research on YouTube, review videos, and practice thumbnails. So I've designed my environment around this system. I've printed a fake play button and comments on my wall to put small reminders in my environment of what the goal is. Unplug my game console so it can't act as a distraction. Keep my research book within arm's length, and put up a basic sign saying the office overhead to remind me that my desk is a place I come to do work, so I don't build the habit of watching YouTube videos for pleasure when I sit here. And I keep my smartphone away from arm's length anytime I sit at the desk, since I'm at work when I'm sat here. It doesn't have to be that extreme. This is just my single-minded focus right now. But if you're trying to do something simpler, like let's say lose weight, you can keep your clothes on the bed, keep a scale at the bathroom door, keep junk food out of your house, and download a calorie counting application so you can track it. Just make it easy for you to do the things that are good for you and difficult for you to do the things that are bad for you. Next is an MVP, a minimum viable practice. A minimum viable practice is the least amount of effort you'd have to put out in order for you to feel the psychological reward for continuing the momentum of the thing that you're doing. So, for example, when I first started YouTube, my MVP or minimum viable practice was for me to write down at least 3 ideas. I could literally pick up my phone while I was in bed and jot down 3 ideas in 10 seconds. They didn't have to be good ideas, just written out, and this gave me the psychological reward of working at the YouTube channel while also being extremely easy to do. This is amazing because you get to choose what your MVP is, but it's really only an insurance policy and not a target, because if you only do the bare minimum, you're going to get bare minimum results. But on bad days, an MVP can really help you keep motivated to keep pushing so you can keep your rhythm and consistency. And it works best when paired with the third method for being consistent, which is simple tracking. In the book The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, former publisher of Success magazine, he He talked about the benefit of keeping logs of activity since it brings instant awareness to what you're working at. And it has a couple of benefits to tracking. The first is that the awareness almost instantly makes you improve because it's just in your face a lot more often. For example, if you have the goal of losing weight and you're looking at the scale every day, then you're going to adjust your behavior throughout the day automatically to lose weight. The second is that it gives you intrinsic motivation because you're seeing your progress every day. It's like those apps where you get rewarded for signing on every day, like Duolingo, and you get a streak and you don't want to break the streak. So whether you have a good day or a bad day, you sign on just to keep the streak going. Your intrinsic motivation is activated by that, and tracking activates that internal motivation system. Simple tracking allows you to see your shortcomings. Like for myself, after 2 weeks of work, I naturally slow down for a day or two. And seeing that, I made adjustments to my behaviors on those days. So now I use those slow days for me to do recovery, where I'll do yoga or I'll do something like reading so I can get back out after that and perform as best as I can. Whatever the change you're trying to make, I know that how you can do it. Because like I said, I've done it myself multiple times and I've seen other people do it multiple times as well. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe you'll enjoy this one where I talk about 3 simple digital tools I use to keep my life organized. As always, thank you for watching.